Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I want to start off by apologizing to everyone who attended my baby shower. I know you guys were looking forward to seeing my baby shower video that I promised you guys, and I messed up and I didn't post it. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, thank you very much everyone, and I apologize. This video is a video that it's long overdue. A year ago today I found out I was pregnant, and it was supposed to be the best day of my life. It was supposed to be the most exciting news, and it wasn't. And the only reason why I am sharing this video and I'm being so open with my life is because throughout this year I've realized that being as open as I am brought people closer to me, people who are going through this and worse. I know I'm not the first or last person to go through this, and I know that it was really hard for me, and it's still hard. I'm still trying to understand it, be obedient to God, and share my testimony. When I was 8 years old, I had a tumor the size of a grapefruit wrapped around my left ovary. They were able to remove it, but they removed most of my ovary with it. Doctors said that my right ovary was still there, but it was very small, so the chances of me getting pregnant or being able to carry was little to none. So good luck. I grew up with the fear of that being true. My whole life I was always in and out of the hospital because I still had pain, and they said the tumor might grow back, and you know it would happen again. Hearing the text saying the text saying that they couldn't find my ovaries, or that they think it was back, and I didn't want to give up. Like I didn't want to ever think like, all right, you know, like it's official this time, I'm never gonna have kids. And it's all I ever wanted to do. Like all I ever wanted to be was a mother. All I ever wanted was, I'm not sure when my parents told me the story of my mom almost having an abortion and why she decided not to. And ever since she told me that story, like, who am I to take a life? If my mom, 15 years old, decided to stick with it and deal with it, being as young as she was and being as scared as she was, there was no situation big enough for me to ever feel the need to kill my child. That like responsibility to be the voice for the unborn and to advocate for them, it's never been a debate for me. It's never been like a right or wrong. It's life or death, you know. There's a life, and it's not being acknowledged as a life. My faith in Christ has been a huge part of my belief in pro-life. I will always feel convicted for even considering having an abortion, knowing how strong I believe in it. I found out I was pregnant today, a year ago, and I want to share my reaction and his reaction. I was with this guy for about 4 months. We were gonna be friends, we were gonna take things slow, and we didn't. We started to feel each other a little more, and oops, that's exactly how that went. Whatever. The person who he pretended to be was everything that I wanted, and he was the complete opposite of all. Time went by, I started realizing little changes, and things had to go his way. He was very controlling, and he had a terrible temper, like road rage on 100. Like very uncomfortable being around him. Working my way out of the relationship, tried to instill insecurities in me. Thank God that my parents raised me strong enough to always know my worth. I realized that he was not who he said he was about like the 3rd month in, and then that's when I was like, all right, it's time to remove myself from this picture. And he sensed that. He apologized, and he didn't mean to, and he wanted to work on things. I feel more of an accessory to him. Like he would make me go with him places just to wait in the car so he didn't have to look for parking, to compliment him. And he was one of those kind of guys that just like to be praised and like their girls to be submissive. I'm not with that. I was never about that. Like, I suspected I was pregnant. I told him when I was about 2 or 3 days late, like, all right, so when you want to take the test, take the test. Like, real, not his issue. Obviously that was the only thing I was thinking about, because I didn't want to be with him anymore. And if I was pregnant, this was a huge deal, because what the am I gonna do? He was acting like he was not trying to be a part of this discussion. By this time, I was already like super sleepy. If it was due to the stress, I didn't know if it was a different problem, like I haven't got my period in a week and now I'm feeling all these things. Like, am I sick? Is something wrong? A whole bunch of things in my mind. I didn't have him to talk to, you know, so I was kind of like going through this alone. So Sunday came and I told him that I just wanted to get the test. He drives all the way to the city. Entire drive, I was like out of it. And when I'm stressed and I'm nervous, I kind of get like a little attitude. And like, clearly I'm in the car with you and I'm not talking, so there's a problem. So don't tell me about your day at work when we're on our way to get a pregnancy test. Do you understand this? So he parks in front of Rite Aid and he's like, all right, hurry up. Oh, I'm going by myself to get this. I didn't mind getting it by myself, but it would have been better if we do this together. A million types of freaking tests. I'm freaking out. I'm sitting there and I'm standing there and I'm looking at these tests and I'm just like, are you really gonna have a baby? Are you really pregnant? Like, this is a good thing, but it's not at the same time because you don't love him and you don't want to be with him. And he's nasty and he's so sad and he's not even being supportive. Finally pick a test. There's a huge line and he's calling me with an attitude because he's very impatient. I forgot to add that. What's taking you so long? Like, hurry up. I go through the line. I get into the car. He's rolling up. He passes me the blunt and says, here because you need to relax. I just came out of Rite Aid with a pregnancy test because I might be pregnant with your child. And you're passing me your blunt to smoke weed right now? Like, that's what type of time you're on? Take me off. Like, you really don't give up. He wanted to go to the movies. He wanted to go do a whole bunch of things before actually taking this test. And like, the only thing I can think of is this test and taking it. And he is just like somewhere else. And so that was frustrating alone. That was like, I felt like I was bugging. This really must not be that serious. Like, this is really not that big a deal. I wasn't even worried whether we was having a kid or not. Like, he was down with it. Or the dude is gone. Like, he's just somewhere else. We get to his house. I need to take this test. And he looks at me and he's like, all right, go ahead, go take it. And I'm standing like with the test in my hand, like, all right, enough. Like, you can't keep acting like this. Can we talk? Can we have a conversation before I go and take this test? Like, I think I'm pregnant. What do you think? Like, is there, like, hello, anybody in there? And he's like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. You're good. You're not pregnant. Remember I told you I can't have kids? Because rewind, we had a conversation a couple of weeks before that where he told me he wasn't sure if he can have kids. And I told him ditto. We were going to have kids when it was time. And he agreed. And so now the time is here. And where are you? It's like, do you not realize that this is a big thing for me, and me being pregnant is not a bad thing. Your behavior is a bad thing. The way you're acting right now is so wrong and so messed up. Like, this is a miracle for me and a miracle for you if what you told me before is true. So why are you sitting there acting like this is not a big deal? Before I walk away, he tells me, listen, if it comes out positive, we're not keeping it. What? I knew deep down that I was pregnant, and those are not the words that you want to hear from your child's father before you're taking a pregnancy test. And I'm texting my best friend Delilah. I take the test, and it was those clear blue tests where it's like 4 or 3 bars and 1 bar blinks, 2 bars blink, you know, they load, and then the word will come out pregnant or not pregnant after the bars load. I'm pacing back and forth, and I take the test and I put it on the floor facing up, and I'm texting her and I'm telling her it's taking forever, and I keep looking down, and he's banging on the door because he's impatient. I'm getting hot, and my anxiety is like on 100. So I sit down next to the test and I'm thinking to myself, like, what's gonna happen? If I'm pregnant, it's a good thing, you know, like, this is what you wanted always. But then, what are you gonna walk out to? Like, is he gonna celebrate it with you, or is he gonna curse you for it? You know, like, this is a miracle. This is amazing. I'm 25 years old. I'm not young. I turn and I'm like, man, Delilah, it's 3 bars and it's still loading. And I go to take a picture. So like any second now, the words would appear. And so I go and take a picture, and when I look to send it to her, it says pregnant. It says pregnant on it. And I sent it to her, and I just started bawling. I was trying to be quiet, and like right now, I don't know what I was crying about. Like, I don't know if I was crying because I was happy or crying because I was sad. I didn't know if this was like, if I should just run out that bathroom and scream I'm pregnant, or if I should hide it because I wasn't gonna keep it. Ooh. Get the crib back there. Like, my son is here, he's alive. I don't know why I'm reacting like this still. I run into his room and he wasn't there, and I'm just like crying, and I couldn't breathe, and it was just like, I couldn't control it, I couldn't stop. He comes in and I have the test in my hand, and like, I didn't love him. Point in my life, like, this is not a bad thing, you know, like, we could be friends, we could be best friends and raise a kid. Like, you could go live your life, I could live my life, and we just have a kid in the middle, and he's gonna be the happiest kid because his parents get along and his parents are cool with each other, you know, and their priority is him. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I'm pregnant. I give him the test, and he's looking at me with his big eyes, and there was fear. Like, I can see fear in his soul. He didn't know where my mind was at. Like, he was scared of not knowing how to convince me to have an abortion, and he didn't know what to do. Like, he didn't know what to say. He just didn't. He was afraid of the work that he was gonna have to put in to convince me to have an abortion. That was the fear that was in his eyes. Looking at him, and I'm crying even more because I read that. Like, I don't even know how long I was crying for, but I remember finally, like I had to lay flat on the floor to get my. I finally cooled down, and he's on the bed, and I start laughing. Like, my nerves, my emotions all over the place. So I just start like cracking up. He takes his laptop. He's on his bed, and he pulls his laptop closer, and he opens it, and he goes, "We have to start looking for clinics so we could get this abortion." I pray that one day I get over this. I pray that I do. Those words were so cruel, and like, I'm sure plenty of females have gone through things, heard words worse than this, or been through situations worse than this, but I don't think that there's anyone out there sorry, I don't think that there's anyone out there who wanted to be a mother more than I did. So I must sound like an a-hole right now with how disgusting my voice is, but desire to become a mother was the only thing I was confident. Like, I was so confident that I was gonna be a dope mother, a great mother. Like, he didn't want to take me home. He wanted to stay with him, stay in bed with him. I just want to cuddle with you for a little longer. Why you want to cuddle with me? Like, if we're gonna keep this baby, then let's cuddle, then let's talk about our future. But if you're asking me to have an abortion, you want to cuddle to make sure that you convince me and that you're the last voice in my ear to have this abortion. And that's what he wanted to do. And he took me to my house because I made it. The only person that I told that I thought I was pregnant was my little sister Shania. 2 or 3 days before I took the test, and we actually have a snap day that we had the conversation, and we were downstairs in the laundry room. I told her that I thought I was pregnant, and that I was gonna buy a test, and I was gonna take it with her. And that probably would have been the best way to go about this. I probably would have had a better reaction with her than with this douche. I get home, and Shania was up. Showed her the picture of the pregnancy test. I told her I had it, and she just looks at me, her eyes open, and she was like, "Oh my god, oh my god," and she just kept laughing. I didn't want her to know that I had an abortion if I did. I'm just gonna tell her that the blood work came back negative, if I had the abortion. Next morning, I wake up and I have a message from him. Something like, hey beautiful, I miss your voice, can you please call me? So I was like, whoa, someone probably had a change of heart. I FaceTimed him. The conversation went like this. He said, hey, how did you sleep? And I said, well, not really good, how about you? And he was like, I slept okay. Listen, I called off for work tomorrow, so make an appointment so that we can get this done, because I don't want it to develop anymore. Hold on. I called off of work tomorrow, so make an appointment so that we can hurry up and get this done, because I don't want it to develop. I hung up and started bawling. And he texts me, I don't understand you. You take everything I say out of context. You confuse me. As if we had agreed prior to this conversation that I was going to have an abortion. As if we spoke and discussed that yes, having abortion is best for both of us and that's what we're gonna do. So I'm going to pick a day this week to have it. That conversation never happened. I never agreed to have an abortion. I never even said I was gonna think about it. So for him to call me and to say and to use those words on me, knowing where I stand, not asking, how are you feeling today? Do you want to talk about this? What do you like, what do you want? What do you want to do? What are you thinking? Like, can we have a serious adult conversation and discuss what's gonna happen? No, that never happened, because it's all about him. And at that point, all he was thinking about was his life and how this was gonna affect him in a negative way. Supposed to stay quiet and do as he says, right? Negative. That point on, it was every single day that he was doing that to me. The next day, he would show up at my house, pretending that everything was all fine. Can you come down? I want to see you. I miss you. I run downstairs, hoping that he had a change of heart. Boom. We need to have an abortion. For weeks he was doing this to me. He was convincing me that he was downstairs for a good thing, for a positive thing, and then he would flip it on me. And he just wanted me to go downstairs. And I sat down with him one time and I was like, do you realize that I have a person, a human growing inside of me right now? Like, this is yours in here. Do you not realize that? And he's like, the problem with you, you have to stop thinking like that because you're gonna get attached, and I don't want you to get attached. I don't want you to get attached. Like, who do you think you are? Like, what throne did you just come off of for you to think that you can, like, what? It's a whole year later and I'm still confused. I still don't understand how this person thinks. Like, I can't even consider him a human, because what he has done after this and continues to do is just out of this world. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I started to consider having an abortion. Don't want to have a kid with this guy. He has no morals. He has no respect for female. He has no respect for females. He has no respect for authority. That's not a reason to kill my child. You know, like, that's a me problem. You know, that's something that I have to deal with. That's not my baby's fault. I was stuck. I had conversations with my parents, and my own parents was just like, we'll support you either way. With my sister, Shaylin, was one of the last people to find out. My younger sister had told her. She FaceTimed me and she was like, bro, when are you gonna tell me? I didn't know how to tell her, and I didn't know how to tell her that I didn't think I was gonna keep the baby either. And she said, what do you mean you don't know what you're gonna do? At the end of the day, this is your decision, but you know what you have to do, so stop questioning it. After that conversation, I started leaning more towards keeping the baby. I still had my doubts, and then I had him constantly coming to me, you can't have this baby, you can't have this baby. And it wasn't what he was saying, and it wasn't that like he was making points, that he was still here forcing me to hear him out, and he wasn't letting me speak. And it was like, this person is a monster, and I'm gonna be stuck with this monster for the rest of my life if I decide to keep this baby. Like, I can't do this. I can't live like this. I was torn. Like, I didn't know what to do. Next, my friend Sasha, and I've met Sasha probably once before that conversation, and we were friends through Instagram, like through a mutual friend. I met her once, and we really never, like, we didn't really have too much of a relationship. She's a Christian, and very positive person. That in my heart from God, that I had to reach out to her, even if it was like sitting down and praying with her, just having like something positive to hear. I at that point I was just desperate to hear God's voice tell me, keep the freaking baby, and I'll take care of the rest. Sat down in Sasha's car, and that's exactly what I heard. She prayed on me and she prayed on my belly. I decided that I was gonna keep my baby. He spoke in a way like my sister, like, you know what you have to do. No one's gonna tell you what to do. This is your decision. I got out that car and I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders so fast. The next day, or I think a day, I don't know, after that, he was downstairs and he said he wanted to talk. And I said, me too. I went downstairs. He was sitting down and he had like the most intimidating face, and he wanted to talk. What I planned on doing, this baby was just gonna delay him and get in the way, and he didn't want it, and he wasn't ready, and he was too young. He was 25 at the time. And like, you're such a miserable person. You're so miserable. Like, the things that you're saying, like, this is not a bad thing, this is a beautiful thing. Like, we're gonna have a baby. Like, there's a life that's coming. This could be so good, and we don't have to be together, but we just have to get along, and that should be fine. And like it was fine. Like, we could have done this. Like, we could do this. And I didn't want to be with him. I didn't want to be with him, but I didn't want to kill my baby either. I was willing to sacrifice dealing with this miserable person for the rest of my life in order to keep my baby alive. Well, you're so miserable. And he agreed. And he was like, Chanel, yeah, I'm miserable. And I'm a piece of shit. I'm okay with that. You can't change me, Chanel. What? Copy. I'm gonna have this kid, whether you like it or not. Let this be the last time you call me down here to convince me to kill my child. So you're either in this with me or you're out. But either way, I'm gonna have this kid. Got out the car. He came chasing after me. My parents are gonna kick me out my house if you have this kid. Oh. Okay, so wait. So you supposedly not having a place to live outweighs my kid's life? Negative. Bye. After that, I didn't hear from him for a little while. And he was obviously rebelling and throwing his little tantrum and doing what he does best. I went upstairs and I prayed and I cried, and I was ready to have my baby. Having an abortion would have eliminated a lot of problems, but it probably would have eliminated myself too. I don't think I would have ever been the same after having an abortion. I say that only because of the amount of guilt that I still feel for even considering it. You know, like, I look at him and I hold him, and when I feel all that love, I instantly feel guilty for even having that thought of never having him, you know, of not wanting him. And for anyone who is in this situation, I know what you're going through, and I know how hard it is. I'll pray and ask God what he wants you to do and what's best for you, and he's never going to steer you wrong, and things are not going to look good tomorrow or the next day or the next week, but he's going to give you the strength. He's going to provide the strength. It's not going to make sense anytime soon, but it will. It will. And you're never going to regret looking into your baby's eyes. Don't get forced into making a decision that you don't agree with. This is your child's life, and you're the only one that baby has. And pray because God is real, and God is alive, and God is valid, and he's gonna be present through everything, through every day, My son, Zander Ocean, is here, and he'll be 4 months next week, and he's beautiful, and he's healthy, and he's so funny. August 9th at 4:14 in the morning, when I saw my son